Welcome back to the Real Talk Matter show. I'm your host Dre with my co-host Greg.
What's up?
What's going on with you, man?
What's up, my man? You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We got an interesting topic today, man. The black dollar.
The black dollar. Well, what's interesting about it is we ran into a stat just recently that was saying something in regards to the black dollar, how it goes in our community. But Dre, I want you to take it from there as far as that, because it's very interesting. It kind of blew my mind a little bit.
We looked at some studies here. They say the average lifespan dollar in the communities now. We got 28 days in Asian communities. We have 19 days in Jewish communities. We have 17 days in white communities. And can I get a drum roll?
Sure.
6 hours for the black community.
That is ridiculous. And when we ran across that, we was talking about it. We was actually in the barbershop talking about it, and that right there blew my mind. 6 hours.
6 hours.
That's not even a whole shift at work. That's not even a whole 8-hour shift at work. So the money is in and out. It's just gone.
And I'm going by lunchtime.
Well, a little bit after lunch.
A little bit after lunch.
So, and your second break of the day is out of there. Yeah, on Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah, the money is gone. So that is actually really a terrible stat as far as that. And what we want to talk about is how it impacts our community and different things that we should try to do to try to alleviate that situation. You got a couple other points for us too that you want to get into, right?
Yep, so basically it's nearly 50 million blacks in the US. And
Okay.
so basically we spend at least $1 trillion a year.
So we have $1 trillion of spending power a year in our communities, but yet and still it's not staying in our communities for 6 hours. Think about the impact that this is doing to our communities as far as not having the money in our communities as far as taxes for schools, to have better schools, have better homes in our neighborhood, better businesses, things of that nature. So we got to find a way to retain that dollar to help uplift our communities.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man.
That's a lot of money.
$1 trillion,
Yes.
man, a year.
I would have never known that until we looked that up. So.
No, I would have never thought $1 trillion though. That's just a lot. Well, you know, another thing is about that the advertising.
Advertising, okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's 42% more likely than the rest of the country to respond to ads.
Black folks are?
So basically, the black folks, we advertise the ads with the mobile phones.
Okay.
So basically, it's like 96% of all blacks own a cell phone.
Okay.
A smartphone. So basically, some people probably have 2 to 3 phones.
Right. So we say, okay.
96%.
96% of black folks own cell phones.
A smartphone.
A smartphone.
Not the flip phones.
Okay. So what was that? You said something about 23%?
Yep. Well, African Americans make up 23%
Of the owners of cell
the total market
Okay.
of the U.S. sales, cell phones.
But we're only 14% of the
Only
population.
14% of the population, 23%.
So we're not talking about 2 chains. We got 2 phones out here. So somebody got the one phone and then they got the burner phone or something like that is going on, because there's no way, the numbers don't even add up. We have way more phones than people.
Well, 3-4 cell phones a household.
Okay.
Well, maybe 8.
Well,
You know,
right.
you just
Depending
never
if it's
know.
4 people in the household.
Depending on
got
who,
you. Right.
depending on what you're doing with the cell phones and everything like that.
So watch those sneaky phones that these guys, these women have out here. There's sneaky phones out here that they're hiding them.
But they're gonna do a lot of ordering
Yeah.
with the ads.
Yeah, with the ads as far as advertisements, and that is taking a lot of our dollar out of the community as well, though, definitely.
Yep. And by saying that, far as with the makeup and everything like that, far as women, black folks is using the cell phones, it's 573 million on an annual basis.
Okay.
We spend it on beauty and grooming products.
See, and that's fine because we want to look good, and I get that. That's a great thing. But out of the top 10 hair companies in America, not one of them is a black-owned company. So the thing is we're spending a disproportionate amount of our wealth on, for example, you just said about the cell phones. We're making up 23% of the consumers as far as that. But how many black cell phone companies are there that's owned? How many black hair, top 10 hair companies are there? There are none. And
it's 19% more higher than any other demographic.
Right.
So basically, I mean, me myself, around where I stay at, I see some beauty salons and stuff like that that's open black owned, but I don't know if people will go there and buy the products.
And we have to invest in people doing things of that nature. I remember place Hair by Jody used to be here in Grand Rapids back in the day. Our boy Black who cut hair and everything. We got to make sure we are supporting people in our communities because they're the one, I mean, we're spending an exorbitant amount of money on beauty products, but we need to make sure we spend it on people in our communities so that money come back as far as taxable income to rebuild our communities.
Right. Well, it only stays in what, 6 hours, so.
Well, 6 hours, yeah, if it's only like 6 hours, that's like, I mean, it's not lasting no time at all. That's like Speedy Gonzalez, beep beep, and it's out of there.
Right.
I mean, we got to hold on to that type of.
I mean, leave everybody at home. Let's go. You know. So.
Well, and the reason that we found this pretty interesting to talk about as far as this is because we were just thinking of different ways. We talk about this a lot as far as what can we do. We don't want to always say, well, our community is bad about this and our community is bad about that. That's not, okay, we have our flaws, but what can we do to make things better? So by highlighting where we're coming up short at, that's going to give us the opportunity to say, hey, this is what we need to work on, let's work on it. But at the same time, we're not saying anything against white people or the white community.
Oh, correct, absolutely.
But we are at a disadvantage right now. And right here, we're going to bring up a couple of points here in a moment
Bring
to
up that graph.
kind of like point this out here. Hold on. All right, come on, can we put this up on the screen here? Now, this is the total household wealth by race ethnicity. Now, as far as white community, we are looking at $103.4 trillion. The black community, which is the orange, yellowish line there, is $4.98 trillion. And the Hispanic is $2.89 trillion. Now, on top of that, we're looking at another stat here. Wealth by race, ethnicity per household. 1.2 million as far as the white household being worth 1.2 million. The black household, 279,000. Hispanic, 234,000. We can bring that down for a moment. So right there's a huge gap, a huge disparity that we are having as far as our communities. Then, as highlighted by you earlier, there's a huge gap as far as income being retained in our communities.
Correct.
So this is obviously one big factor of why we are so far behind in regards to wealth disparity. So I think there should be government programs and things that can help our communities as well, but it also starts with us first.
Right, helping each other. For the community you stay in. Now, if you stay out, you don't have to stay in the hood to help out the hood.
Right.
You know what I mean? If the store's there or the beauty salon store's there in that area, I mean, you can shop with the black dollar.
And you know what? I'm glad you just said that too.
And we're not
actually.
saying you can't shop with no other demographic.
You can shop anywhere.
Because basically, obviously, we are.
Yeah.
So, but
we have to do more within our own community. That's not saying don't go to the mall.
Right.
But we have to invest in our community. And I like the point.
I'm going to the mall.
Huh?
Because I'm going to the mall.
Yeah, I'm going to the mall as well. But I like what you just said as far as just because you don't live, if you don't live in the community, you said hood, but hey, whatever. If you don't live in the community, you can still invest in it. And I wish that, a lot more people when they become, athletes,
millionaires, or
whatever. It's not just entertainment as far as just millionaires, period. Invest in the community. Come back and you see different things that is needed.
couple dollars.
Don't always we have to go to the government for the help. We can just invest ourselves. We can take this money and invest in the business ourselves in our neighborhood. We don't have to always go outside, It's just funny that it seems like when people get to that point, they're vroom, I'm out of here.
Right.
But like you said, even you move out, you can always come back and help out and try to help others in less fortunate situations rise up as well.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we threw those two stats out there as far as that. Now the next thing I want to throw out here is, let's see here. All right, here you go. Can you put this up on the screen, please? Now, this is the demographic and economic variations, just saying that white households are more likely to have demographic characteristics that are associated with wealth. They are most of the time older, with more than half of the households aged 55 and up, more highly educated, with 51% having some type of degree, less likely to have a single parent, and more likely to have received an inheritance. You bring that down now.
That sounds amazing.
Well, I mean, the one thing I tell, especially my kids, and I tell people all the time is the secret of success is not anything that's really out there. It's really basic things. I know there's one line gonna get some people upset, huh?
Home structure.
It's about structure. We talk about this all the time when we hanging out and everything, but like the stat right there, less likely to have a single parent. And some people get really upset about that. And as I state, I'm not saying because you're a single parent that you're not going to make it.
Right.
All I'm saying is it's a lot harder on you when you are a single parent. This is a fact. We're not talking about necessarily your personal situation. It's just these are different roadblocks along the way of life that could kind of hurt you as far as getting to the place where you want to get to.
And basically going back to the black communities, it's a lot of single parent homes.
It is.
So that's going to affect the money going into the community,
Yes.
everything like that. So
Well, even on top of that, let me just throw this last point, kind of like to piggyback what you said. One more thing I want to throw up on the screen real quick here. And we're talking about asset types held by race. So basically it's saying what is on as far as different communities. So as far as having a primary residence, as far as a home, as most people know, a home is one of the most biggest investments that a person may have. 73% of white folks own a home, 45% of blacks, 46% Hispanics. Retirement accounts, 60% whites, 34% is blacks. Publicly traded stocks, 61% whites, 31% blacks, 28% Hispanics. Bring that down now. So when you were just saying as far as single parents
Right.
living in the neighborhood and everything, on top of that, a lot of us is not even owning our own homes. So we're renting homes. We're behind as far as, what we're saying as far as the dollar not circulating in our communities.
correct.
And when you're renting a home, like your tax, it's not building up the tax base as far as schools or things of that in your neighborhood. So you have the nicer schools and things of that nature. So hospitals and things of that nature. So we're losing out altogether. So it's very important if you want to have a strong infrastructure in your community to invest in your community.
Right.
So this is why this is a big thing that we're talking about as far as this.
And that's another thing I want to tell you guys. I was watching this show with Killer Mike. I don't know if anyone know what Killer Mike is. He's a rap artist, very intelligent guy. He had a show on Netflix. It was called Trigger Warning. So basically, he was 3 days in the black community in Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
Just basically just trying to buy everything black. You know what I mean? Basically, one part of the show, he couldn't get no transportation because there's no black-owned vehicles, right? So basically, he went to the spot, he got a bicycle, rode the bicycle around because it was a black-owned bicycle shop.
Okay.
So he did that. And another time, he had to sleep on a bench because there's no black-owned hotels. So that
So
was
he
one
just
of the
tried to
things.
experiment basically for 3 days.
For 3 days.
Just to say, hey, I really want to invest my money in the black community for 3 days. And he had to sleep on a park bench for a day.
Basically to show, the watchers that, basically, put money to your black community.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, this type of stuff is going to happen. Like for the bike shop, a lot of people wasn't there. Who's going to buy bicycles all the time? And especially where the area is at, who's going to go there and buy a bicycle?
Right.
Basically, he went to a grocery store, a little small grocery store that was in the community, and they had food there, but most black people in that community is going to bypass that store and go to another store.
To a bigger store.
Probably a bigger store.
Like here in
Walmart
Grand Rapids, like a Meijer or something like
or
that.
Walmart
exactly.
or something like that.
Right.
It bypass it, And far as the hotel situation, I mean, even if you did want to just buy black owned, you will be sleeping outside because it's not black owned.
Yeah,
Probably be in a tent or something like that.
exactly. It's like less than 2% of the hotels in America that's owned by black people. Less than 2%.
Wow.
So there's not a lot of variety that he was going to choose as far as that. So all this is being brought up just to say, hey, that there's obviously an issue here at hand, and this is something that we really need to, be aware of and focus on a way of taking care of the situation. So, and first and foremost by doing this is start spending more locally in your black community. Those black dollars is going to help your community as far as building your community up. Not saying not to spend anywhere else because guess what? We're going to do it anyway because that's what we've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way around that. But we have to start, when you want to take care of your own, you have to start spending on your own.
Basically, I would suggest this. Just gradually do it.
Right.
If that's the case, you know what I mean? Just go to the store, buy this from here, because you're going to be basically, if you're a shopper, you're going to go to the main stores that you go to.
Right.
Or like we said, order on the phone, advertisements, stuff like that. So, just gradually do it.
Right. If I need a burger, I'm going to Hall of Fame right there on Eastern.
Right.
If I need a haircut, I'm going to my boy Black right there off of Eastern and Oakdale. Or we'll go to the homie Priest at the Shave Cave, right?
Yep, Priest Shave Cave in South Haven.
Downtown South Haven. So we got to make sure we're invested within our own, because that's going to help build ourselves up and put us in a situation where we could close this wealth inequality here, because I mean, it's really a situation that's terrible to think about.
Man, absolutely.
All right, so I think we're about to wrap right now as far as the show here. Thank you for joining us. It's very much appreciated. Real Talk Matters will make sure what we're going to do. Real Talk Matters is going to make sure we do what we're going to keep doing, which is keeping it real out here. And
till next time.
Peace. Damn, I fumbled that.